There's a lot of colors, I don't know where to go. See a lot of colors, only feeling blue. There's a lot of colors, lost within a haze. Don't rely on others to get you through the maze.
All right, so since I've been gone, there's been some issues with some of these history books here. And I just want to talk about why it doesn't matter what curriculum you use. It matters what and how you discuss topics with your kids, plain and simple. Because they're going to learn most from those conversations than they are going to learn from any textbook that you are using. So if you're new here, I'm Xuan, and I have this like relaxed homeschool vibe that I realize not everyone has. So there are homeschools out there that like hold on to the idea of how homeschooling should be and how the curriculum should be. And like I said, it doesn't really matter what curriculum you're using. It doesn't matter. What matters are the discussions that you're having with your kids, developing those critical thinking skills with them. When it comes to this text right here, it was originally written in 1993, I believe, updated in 2005. And so it's a little outdated. It's not written in a way that would be acceptable in our world today. But taken into consideration, it is a reader for middle schoolers, a nonfiction reader for middle schoolers, and it is going to have a bit of humor in it. And humor goes a long way when it comes to reading dry subjects. And I have no problem having my middle schooler read this. Am I reading it with my younger kids? No, I'm not. We're reading like picture books and stuff like that. We're not reading textbooks because, you know, that's just, they're not ready for that right now. However, all the other books about 13 colonies, etc. Excellent. Could this book right here be improved about the first Americans? Yes, of course. And that being said, we do supplement. I supplement with this book here, An Indigenous People's History of the U.S. This one's for young readers. And I also supplement with this, A Different Mirror, for young people as well. And there is another resource out there that you can use. It's a Resilient Panda. It's like a new history curriculum company. And right now they only have curriculum about Chinese American history. But in the future, I believe they're coming out with more because we have a wide variety of people that live here in the US. And in addition to what I'm using there, I use a lot, mind you. And this is not for everyone, I get it. A lot of homeschool parents just want an open and go curriculum and then pretty much hands off. Don't go too deep into it. Let the curriculum do all the thinking for you. I'm not that kind of person. It's just not how my brain works. And so, you know, if you want something open and go, there's just a lot of stuff out there, but you're probably going to have to supplement. It's probably not going to meet all your needs because there is no such thing as a perfect curriculum. I also use History Quest, and I use mainly their study guide. I don't really use the reader just because I tried reading it out loud to them and my kids were just like not into it. They just were not paying attention at all. So it was just, I don't know, a waste of my time. But I do use this. I like their Huga activities or reading. So I use this as a reference, not as my spine. In addition to that, because I believe in having, not just being stuck in my little bubble, I believe in looking at things with other viewpoints, as you can see with these books here. And so I also use, even though it's Christian, and then those of you that are Christian out there, you may consider this liberal Christian, but I use Beautiful Feet books as well. And the early American history here. I like the rabbit trails. I just like the format of this because I'm just a very aesthetic kind of a person. I like pretty things. I like their reading list. So I use this. And then I also, it's gonna be a lot. I also use For Which We Stand. And this one's about American government. And in addition to that, part of U.S. history, we are here in California, is California Out of the Box. And I really like this one. I really like the activities in this. I really like the critical thinking that's involved. And we haven't finished this. We did work all the way up to the California Gold Rush. And then we kind of went back to U.S. history. And then once we get, in our U.S. history, once we get to the Gold Rush, then we'll move back to this book. And so yeah. Oh, in addition to that, magazines. We use magazines. I supplement a lot when it comes to history. With the other subjects, do I supplement a lot? I don't know. I'd have to think about that. But I know with history, I do supplement a lot, use a lot of different resources out there. I minored in history. I didn't major in history. I could have majored, but I wanted to get done with school. Part of writing a history research paper, you have to use a lot of resources. You don't just depend on one to get all your information, right? So kind of same thinking. If you haven't picked up this book yet, I make sure that you do. I am going to make a video about this because she's coming out with a companion book that's for kids. And so once I get that, I will do a book about this for you. But teach your kids critical thinking skills. And the best way to do that is to have discussions, to talk to them about things, to play the devil's advocate, you know, and not just have them parrot your beliefs and all that. Like, have them think and really let them have their own opinions about topics, you know, and then ask why and just delve deeper. And before I end this little, I don't know, is it a homeschool rant? Maybe. Before I end it, I just want to let you know that I do use some other resources for history that are not appropriate for middle school and elementary. This is more for high school. And then again, making history fun, because history can be really boring. Yes, you heard that right from a history teacher. History can be really boring unless you put some humor in it, or just, you know, have some storytelling, I guess, which is why people like to use the readers. But my kids were not into this. So I do have a cartoon history of the US. Larry Gonick does have a bunch of other comic books on different subjects. And yeah, again, this was written, let me see, probably in the 90s, maybe even earlier. 1991. It's not going to be, you know, appropriate for this day and age, I guess, but I'm okay sharing this with my kids once they get old enough. Like, I have no problems with it, because we're going to discuss things. We're going to talk about things, because not everything in our world is black and white. It's all shades of gray. Not everyone has the same opinions about things, not, you know, and I want them to use their critical thinking skills. And so another series that we have is the Horrible History series. And Horrible Histories is a UK book series. I think they even had a TV show back in the day. And let's see, I bet you it was written in the 90s as well. Yeah, 1994. Maybe I'm just dating myself here with all these old books. I don't know. But, you know, it's a funny book. They're funny books. Are they totally appropriate? Probably not. If it was written in 1994, it's probably not appropriate for today's standards. But I'm okay with having my kids read this because they're funny, and it's going to help my kids get the big picture and understand the big picture when it comes to history. I don't really care if they know the details, because the details don't really matter, in my opinion. So yeah, you want to know like when the American Revolution started, when did World War II end, blah, blah, blah. But you want to know the big picture, like why did things happen? What were the main catalysts for stuff to happen? You just want your kids to understand the big picture, because that will help them later in life when they make connections with things, with other ideas and topics and what have you. And all that being said, like the whole point of this like little rant is that you homeschool the way you want to homeschool. You do things the way you want to do things. You don't depend on me or any other homeschool YouTuber or Instagrammer or whatever you follow. Don't depend on them to tell you what to use in your homeschool, because the whole reason why we homeschool is freedom of choice, freedom of education, right? So lean into that. Homeschooling is an alternative lifestyle. Whether you agree with that or not, I mean, it is, because majority of people do not homeschool their kids. They have them in traditional schools. And so just embrace it and lean into the fact that you can just do what you want to do. So yeah, sure, like in some states, you may have to follow specific guidelines in order to homeschool, and that's perfectly fine. But there's ways to work around things and weave through things. I hope you found this video informative in some way and motivating, that just do what works best for you. You know, do what works best for your family, and it's okay to supplement your curriculum. And if you find something that doesn't work, it's okay to use something else. And it's okay if you come across information that makes you kind of cringe or makes your body kind of like start to flare up, because it's just such a different way of thinking. And maybe you just need to lead with curiosity instead of like fear, and figure out why those ideas make you uncomfortable, and then discuss it. Discuss it with your kids, discuss it with your spouse, discuss it. You know, your kids are going to learn so much more through discussing ideas than they are going to by reading a textbook. There will be more depth and understanding if you're discussing the ideas with your kids. Not just having them parrot your opinions, but also, you know, you want them to have their own opinions, even if they are different from yours, because they're going to be, because they're a different generation of kids. And you don't want to produce a clone, do you? I hope you enjoyed this video. It resonated with you in any way. Make sure you leave a comment down below and let me know. And I will see you guys in the next one. Ciao.